Hey everybody, welcome to the Northwest Weather Podcast. I'm Chief Meteorologist Brian McMillan here at Fox 13. We got meteorologist Abby Acone. Hi, Abby.
Hey, hi, good morning.
And our traffic guru,
Yes.
Mr. Adam Gerke.
Guru.
We're so happy to have you here because, you know, weather and traffic collide oftentimes. So it's good to get your take on things as well, especially during the winter months where things are a little more, shall we say, interesting on the roads.
The collisions happen more frequently.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's get to our weather headlines. Here we go. First off, guys, we've had snow. Finally, after the most boring winter ever, all the way almost through January, we are finally back to snow.
How dry were we through January? Because that was, people were doing dry January, but this was a January that was dry on its own.
Right, and we were talking about, I remember we were talking about how boring the weather was when it was that, we had that long stretch, I think it was like 13 days in a row where we were totally dry. And folks, that is not normal. That is not not usual here in Seattle. If you're listening from somewhere else, January is one of our wettest months. We usually get about 6 inches of rain, and we got far less than that.
It was like near nothing.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So for those of us who work in weather and traffic, it was almost, dare I say, easy.
Yeah.
It was, and I mean, the days of sunshine, gosh, if you're new to Seattle, I love this for you, but it's absolutely not normal, and it was super weird. But we've caught up in such a big way, and I think it's remarkable that we've already hit our average snow totals in Seattle for the entire month of February.
Yeah, so
we're paying for that dry January.
We've had 2.3 inches of snow so far. I'll show you here. So this is what it, like normal January, 2.2 inches. Normal February, 2.2 inches. That's average. The all-time record, 2019, we had 20 inches. Do you remember that? Adam, you guys were both here, weren't you?
That was a heck of a year. That was a heck of a thing.
What was that like?
I'm still exhausted just thinking about it. It was so intense. I just remember like so many inches of snow on the ground driving to and from Bellevue where I was living at the time. And it was just storm after storm after storm, and the city was just so exhausted. And it just shut everything down. It was remarkable.
Well, and that was right, that was the year before COVID hit, right? So, and I remember in Portland too, we got a lot of snow that month, and I remember the kids were out of school for an entire week, and I remember my wife just pulling her hair out, because the kids were home for a whole week, and I was at work, and then COVID hit. Is like, oh no, that was nothing. I keep reminding her about that week they were home from school. It's like, how about months and months, right? But February. I mean, we can get a lot, we can get a little, and this year we got normal. Okay, 2.2 inches. Now, to those of you watching maybe from other areas of the country might make fun of our little 2.2 inches. But Adam, this impacts the roads in a big way.
Correct, yeah, out of the fact that you look at Chicago, and I'll use Chicago as the example, because Chicago, you have about an inch of differentiation in altitude over the course of a mile. Yeah. It is a virtual pancake.
Right, like, you can see for miles and miles.
In upstate Wisconsin, they literally ski at a garbage dump. Like it is a landfill that is a mountain, and that's what they use to ski on.
Oh, you're not joking?
I'm not joking. That's a real thing.
Not fake
So
news.
the Midwest folks, they come here and they think, oh well, we know how to drive in snow. We do this all the time back home.
Yeah.
The short answer is, we have hills, and we have significant hills. I remember at one point I got into a discussion with a viewer at one point because they were saying, well, the same thing. Well, we know how to drive from the Midwest. I said, yeah, but do you go from sea level to, I don't remember what the height or the elevation of it is, Queen Anne?
Yeah.
Within that short span. Do you have anything like that where you're from? And they're like, well, we're from Oklahoma. I was like,
exactly.
And so they don't have anything that can compare.
Also, there's probably more plows, and there's more treatment of the roadways, all that stuff, because you're gearing up for it more.
True. And to your point also, when we look at how those roads are treated, say in the Rust Belt gets its name for the fact that they're often using salt on the roads.
Yeah.
And here in the Pacific Northwest, we try and be mindful of our rivers and streams and creeks.
Right.
We don't want to be poisoning the fish, so we're not necessarily using salt. We're using sand, or if we're not using that, we're using some other de-icing agent that's not a pollutant. So there's a lot going on here.
Well, we got our snow. Okay, and I could say I hope that maybe we're done with it, but it doesn't look like we're totally done with it because we have more potentially coming here Thursday night into Friday morning. Abby, you were looking at the forecast this morning, so what can we expect here Thursday night and into Friday morning?
Yeah. So it's going to be coming from the south, and it's probably going to arrive, near the Oregon state line for some of our friends in Chehalis, Centralia, the Willapa Hills in Southwest Washington. So like by 2-3 o'clock when I was looking, we might start to see some snow near Oregon. Now, how far north are those bands of snow going to go? It'll be interesting to see because that's going to be crucial. But by tomorrow night, could become a little bit more widespread.
Yeah.
Nothing nearly as bad as what we've seen so far.
I think the Portland metro area will get hit the hardest. So we're talking like ice and freezing rain and snow and nastiness there. They could get a few inches, and meanwhile up here we're just looking at maybe. Once again, a dusting, right? That's mostly what we've had, a dusting up to an inch or 2 inches here and there, so it hasn't been too bad for us. We've also had some really cold mornings. I want you to check this out. So yesterday, we hit 23 degrees. Okay, that tied the record low for yesterday. Today, we hit 22 degrees, not quite a record. Those are old records, by the way, 1949.
Been a minute.
Real old. And Thursday's low forecast, 26 degrees. So we got this cold air mass. Yeah. It's from that Canadian air that's been pulled through the Fraser Valley or pulled from east of the Cascades, just kind of settles in those areas, and then finally makes its way here west of the Cascades.
What does that do with our air quality, though, in the meantime?
Yeah, good question. Yeah. So, when we have high pressure overhead, it kind of can, but to put it simply, it brings the air from the higher parts of the atmosphere down here to the surface, so it can kind of get some of that pollution
I've got some
down
neighbors,
towards the surface.
Neighbors who are using wood stoves.
Yeah,
and it lingers. It's not going anywhere. I'm like, why does it still smell like a campfire in the neighborhood?
I'm trying to remember if it was the 4th of July or if it was New Year's. Maybe it was New Year's. I think it was last year. Do you remember where the fireworks went off and all of the smoke just hung low? Right. Yeah. And this year the smoke moved on, but that year, and if I remember right, high pressure was overhead. It just kind of hung there, and we didn't get to see the show because it was all covered up.
You know what? Can I just point out something in this rundown?
Yes.
Skin dry and cracked. Why?
Yeah.
Which
why?
Ties,
right?
It ties in perfectly to
because our hands are like, and I'm like shocking my kids and the dog in the house.
The lightning bolt.
The dog won't even let me pet him anymore because I've shocked him so many times on his little nose.
Oh, baby.
So what's going on with that?
Well, gosh, the moisturizing has been rough, people. Okay, I just feel like it's been a tough situation.
I've got hands of burlap. It's like, this is not good.
The rain will be back soon, though. We'll be looking at that coming back here. Normal old February rain coming back this weekend and some mountain snow, so that'll be really good. All right, let's get to our national weather here. I want to head out to the East Coast. Abby, you did a report on this earlier on. Oh, by the way, before we get to that, let's take a look at the snow forecast. This is the way it looks right now. So south of Seattle into Tacoma, Olympia, and Centralia, we could see some snow. This is by Friday morning. Okay? Stay tuned. That can change.
Stay tuned.
Okay. National weather now. Let's get out to the Midwest. Tell us what's happening there.
Yeah, so what's so interesting about this particular winter storm is just that it is so widespread. So we're going all the way from the Rockies to parts of the Plains, Midwest, Northeast. You notice, though, on the snow forecast that there's a very sharp line between the snow to the north and then probably rain or freezing rain below it. So all of the blue colors on the map are highlighting the heavier bands of snow. I think Chicago, Milwaukee, Madison could see in the order of 5 to 8 inches. And it's not just about the totals, but the rates. There could be snow rates of 1 inch an hour, which is really awful. So if you have any flights going in any of these highlighted spots, those could be delayed or canceled. New York, nothing in terms of the snow. Boston, less than 1 inch. I do think that the Rockies are going to be in tough shape too. And look at Idaho. You're also included in a lot of this, southeastern Oregon.
Yeah, we got that winter weather advisory for the Central Valley and the Portland metro area as well. That's for tomorrow night.
Yeah, and then I forgot that this is a podcast. I need to be describing what's on the map. I feel terrible. I'm so sorry.
It's both. It's audio and video. So it's
audio.
Yes.
It's the full experience. Basically, Midwest, I think we could have some problems. And then we were also talking about how Virginia's under a state of emergency, Brian, if you want to touch on that too.
Yeah, state of emergency with the freezing rain.
Yeah.
Then you get the freezing rain.
In fact, we had a reporter on today from Virginia, and you could see on the bush behind her that there was freezing rain taking hold. You could see the branches starting to crystallize.
You remember when we had to deal with that? I think it was a couple of years ago.
2 years ago, specifically.
Yeah.
It was December. It was the day before I was supposed to leave on vacation.
Oh,
I couldn't
that's
get out of
right.
my driveway.
Yes, you couldn't even get to work.
I couldn't get
could
to
you?
work.
That's right.
No.
We were zooming you.
Yeah. Because Adam had moved into his new house at that point, and his cul-de-sac was a total sheet of ice.
The whole neighborhood.
I remember staying. We had forecasted. I said, you know what? I'm not taking any chances. I stayed at the hotel that was nearby the station. I'm so glad I did, because even going the whatever 200 or 300 feet that is from the hotel to here, I mean that was hairy.
Yeah.
So freezing rain is not what you want to deal with. They're expecting up to 10 inches of snow in parts of Virginia as well today. And then, as you said, flights and could be delayed or canceled here across the country as well. So if you're heading out somewhere, make sure to check your flights. That's
right.
the bottom line.
And severe storms, too, could be really bad, like near the Gulf of Mexico. So there are spots in the southeast where there could easily be tornadoes, large hail, damaging winds today. And it's not just the threat today. There's going to be another really intense risk of severe weather on Saturday that we have to watch out for as well. And it's rare. Several days out on Saturday, we have good confidence that it's going to be really difficult.
So areas like Alabama and Louisiana and Mississippi and Georgia and all that stuff, we'll be watching that closely as well, because we know a lot of you are traveling for work and all of that good stuff. All right, guys, it is now time for a little segment I like to call our Cities of the Week. Are you ready for this?
Woo!
So what we're going to do, this is a little game, okay? And you can play at home as well.
Are these Northwest cities, or is this?
This is a Northwest city, okay? And I don't want you to look.
Townships, cities.
Townships.
You know what?
What is the size we're looking at here? Because I got a lot of them in my head, and so this is maybe not fair.
Well, Adam, that will be a part of the clues, I guess. Okay, so and they could be cities that no longer exist anymore too. Okay, all right.
I'm so nervous.
Okay, so here is the first clue. Okay, this city had a population of almost 43,000 people. Okay, in the 2020 census. So that is a reasonably.
It's a smaller. It's a hamlet.
It's a medium-sized city, I would say, right?
43,000. That's kind of. It's a smaller in my book.
Okay. This particular city lies within a hazard zone for lahars.
Oh, Enumclaw.
Puyallup, Eatonville, Greenwater.
Hold on.
Anything in the shadow of the mountain.
Let's see here. Okay. There was, because of that risk, in 2014, there was a drill that included the entire district, 5,000 students. The high school was evacuated within 4 minutes, and the first group of students were able to reach high ground within 18 minutes. Very impressive, by the way.
Wow.
This city is known for its antique stores. Many are located next to the
Snohomish.
main street.
Is Snohomish in a lahar zone?
No.
Okay.
Not in my book. But the only street that I can think of with antiques all over it is Snohomish.
That is actually, it's a great.
Connor, but that's on the water.
There's also what's that city up near Bellingham that has a wonderful little downtown just south of it. Brock Heward, who is a sports talk show host, a former football player as well, is from this city. Now, I wanted to get a few of them out. You did guess it in one of your guesses. So do you have a guess?
Puyallup.
It's Enumclaw.
Puyallup is correct. With Puyallup. Yes. Puyallup, the name of Puyallup comes from the Puyallup tribe of Native Americans, and it means the generous people.
Oh, gosh, I love that.
The weather in Puyallup, typically a little bit warmer than Seattle. Also, it can be a little bit cooler in the winter time. So there you go.
Interesting.
Right, I love that. And I love that you brought up the stats because they are so incredibly prepared.
They're very prepared.
For lahar flow, which is very impressive.
You know, I didn't know they did that big drill back in 2014. That's really impressive. It is the city, though, that has the highest number of people, public venues, businesses, all that is in that area where lahars can reach. So when Rainier goes, and it's going to go someday, they've got a game plan, and it's really good that they got a game plan.
Well, I remember that drill being run. I remember when we covered it.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
And I remember there's the lahar warnings, sirens, and all the above. I remember visually, I can remember what it looked like.
And you know, one thing I didn't mention, which is gosh, it's been there for over 100 years now, is the state fairgrounds there.
Yeah. Oh,
We all remember the old song, Do the Puyallup, right? And that now, it has a concert venue.
Oh, yeah.
They do stuff all year round. It's not just about the fair anymore.
Got to see Carrie Underwood and Weird Al at the same time.
Did you really?
No, but that's what I would expect. Oh. First concert for me, one of my first concerts was there, though, years ago when I was a wee tyke. It was the Oak Ridge Boys.
The Oak Ridge Boys.
But I won't say that was like the official first concert, but that was one of the first concerts.
I just last year went down there and saw Third Eye Blind.
So
there you go.
With their 1 or 2 hits.
So there you go. Our first city of the week, Puyallup.
Love it.
Thank you for playing, you guys. Thank you for playing at home as well.
Yeah.
We're gonna be bringing you more of these Northwest Weather podcasts here,
right.
and we're doing it on a regular basis. We're gonna be playing more games. We're going to answer your questions as well. So you can feel free to hit us up on social media, ask us some weather questions, some traffic questions for Adam as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're going to get the other weather
Bring
folks.
it.
He loves answering them. He does. If you got a traffic ticket, he's not going to be able to help you with that, but he will tell you where.
I can tell you what the chance of mitigation is on this. on
That's
some
right.
of these.
Lake Forest Park, you're not going to
No.
win. I'll tell you that right.
No chance.
Speaking from experience.
So stick around. Hey, thank you guys so much for joining, and thank you for listening here to our first episode of the Northwest Weather Podcast. Have a great week.